guys. Wow, for once I actually don't look a complete chaos making a video. Yay! And I have Elsa on my shirt because I'm a child and I like Elsa still. But I also have my amazing, wonderful sensory swing behind me, in case you were wondering what that is. But that also brings me on to what I'm going to talk about in this video. Again, since my brain still needs to tell people because people can't get their head around it, is autism. Now, I don't understand, because I live with autism, I don't understand how people can get this so wrong, so confused, or so far be so ignorant about it. It's a pretty common thing now. It's not exactly something that's hidden away, it's not thrown away, and it's not just something someone wants to say they have when they don't have it. So I'm just really confused myself personally how people can be so unaware of it. So I thought I would make a video and at least a little bit try and clarify a few things and explain a few things. It's not necessarily the neatest video or anything like that, but those who watch my channel know I don't edit videos because I just want people to see the raw and the real rather than the edited version without all the stuff that makes me laugh, without all the stuff that keeps me calm, without all the stuff that makes sense to me. So that's how I do it. That's why I don't edit. And you may or may not hear my assistant's dog or see him because currently he's sleeping in the corner, but he does get up quite often. He doesn't sleep for very long. You may see him in the video. Please ignore him if you do not like dogs because he ain't going anywhere. For a start, apologies, I'm getting a piece of paper. I want people to realise this. Autism is I need a pen or a pencil or something. That'll do. Autism is a spectrum. Can I even spell spectrum? Spectrum. Yes, I can apparently. Good. Autism is a spectrum. The only difference now, because it was changed in 2017, is that autism is no longer autism spectrum disorder. Autism is now autism spectrum condition. No, I don't know why it changed. No, I don't understand why it changed, and I'm not willing to read up on it anyway, because when you're describing yourself as someone with autism, you don't really say, oh, I have autism spectrum condition. You say, I have autism. Because it's all under that umbrella of condition, really, or spectrum, whatever you want to call it. But when it comes to this sort of stuff, and a pencil again, there are many different ones. Like, they are seriously many different ones. And I think America does it slightly different. America does levels, whereas we do it in England. We have autism. We have those. So we have severe autism, moderate autism, and high functioning autism, along with PDNOS, which are passive development, non otherwise. I don't know why you're barking. Non otherwise specified, and Asperger syndrome, which is actually now just classed as high functioning autism. I have a lot of people who assume that non-verbal autism, which is more to do with severe autism, is going to change, is going to go away. Some people just never speak, no matter how much speech therapy they have and occupational therapy they have and physical therapy they have. Some people just never speak, and instead of speaking, using verbal words, they will use other things to communicate. Sounds. They will use ASL, which is American Sign Language. Obviously, that's more America. BSL, which is British Sign Language, or Makaton. And some people even make up their own Makaton and their own signs so they're able to communicate. I think that was Jake's way of apologising. He's gone back to the corner now. Other people use devices. Like I use a device. Americans have Dynaboxes, which I'm assuming is a bit more complicated and complex, but also works really well to help people to communicate. There's apps on your phone you can use, like Let Me Talk is a great one. I use that one on my phone. I've also got com boards on my iPod. Try that again. On my Kindle that help me communicate when I can't communicate verbally. But regardless of what kind of autism someone has, it's always going to be different. There's always going to be a unique sense to it. There is always going to be people who choose not to describe or choose not to inform people that they have autism, and that's okay. Like I mainly do. I inform people I have autism because I understand that my disability is very different from most people because I have comorbid conditions. Whereas someone like my brother, who has Asperger, although she's becoming my sister, but that's a whole nother story, who has Asperger and doesn't find things very difficult in terms of communicating, in terms of managing himself, in terms of being able to live independently. He often doesn't tell people that he's got a disability unless it's absolutely necessary, because you don't have to make it clear. You don't have to, I guess, admit that you've got a disability on forms. You're allowed to not say it, and you're allowed to not make it clear that you have a disability. But at the same time, it comes with both pros and cons if you make it clear or not. Now, I know that a lot of people, like children, I know can't make it clear that they're autistic. Very young children, I should say, because I was very aware by the time I was diagnosed that I was autistic. But very young children can't make it clear. They're not able to say, I'm autistic. So parents, carers, guardians may well take that step and tell people that their child has special needs. Not for special treatment, not for advantages, not for other things that get them done and mean that they get things quicker. More so that people are aware that if their child does this, if their child has a meltdown, for instance, or their child doesn't want to play, it's not because their child is misbehaving, it's because their child is struggling. We, as an autistic community, are constantly being told that we have to work and deal and cope in a world that is just not going to work for us because it's not built around our neurology. Autistic people have a different neurology to people who are neurotypical. So we're constantly trying to survive in a world that isn't built for us. Hence why we have so many other tools that help us when we get home. I mean, I used to shut myself in my bedroom when I lived at my parents' because I could not cope with the world after school. I wanted to go home, I wanted to make a drink, I wanted to do my homework, and I wanted to shut off for the world, and I wanted to just be on my own with a cat and blankets. My parents understood that. No one bugged me unless I went downstairs and wanted something or needed something, and it was fine. And it helped everyone in that situation. And Bryn was the same. I mean, Bryn would go in his room, or he'd go in the back room and play on the Xbox to wind down after school. I know to most people that's quite normal after work or after school, but it's usually for shorter periods and it's usually still around people. I myself don't like being around people when I need to wind down. Animals is fine. Like, I'm more than happy to be around my cat or my furry ball of happiness, which is Jake in case you didn't know. That is fine, because they don't say anything to me, they don't ask me questions, they don't make me do stuff. But parents, carers, guardians, when we get home from school, they ask us questions, They want us to do homework, they want us to listen to them, they want us to do all the things, when in reality we've just been put on extra demands to us, and that hurts. And it does make it difficult for us to cope with the rest of the day. It doesn't matter what end of the spectrum you're on. You're still going to struggle with it because it may be in your routine, but it's also not something that is particularly pleasant for anyone with autism, really. We need to have wind down time, we need to have sensory time or calm time, whatever you want to call it, to get through the rest of the day. Whether that just be dinner in bed, or whether that be we've got an activity after school, we've got dinner after school, we've got to see people after school, whatever that may be. We need time alone first before we can do that. I've had countless questions about whether autism will go away by 18. Countless times people assume it will. It really doesn't. It does not go away at 18. Just because we have learned to manage our condition doesn't mean it's gone away. You have no idea what you don't see. I'm going to draw it again just so people can have a better understanding of this, but let me have a think. How do I demonstrate this? I need a colour that can be seen on an internet. There we go. So let's say this. This is meant to be a mountain. I am not great at drawing when I'm drawing without a board or something to rest on. But this is a mountain. This is what you see. You probably just see a high achieving person with autism. But what you don't see underneath the mountain of things that we've managed to achieve are the overwhelm, the anxiety, the pain, the stress, the scared, the meltdown after doing a task, the anger, the loneliness, the freakouts, the OT, the occupational therapy, the physical therapy and speech therapy that we have to go through every single day for a number of years to be able to get to this top bit of the mountain. Because you don't see all of this, you don't understand that actually all of this was part of our journey, and that's why we're at the top of the mountain. That's why we're at the top of the yay. But that is also why when we get home and we have meltdowns, or we get to somewhere and we don't have any sort of communication with others and we shut down because there's too many demands placed on us again, from being this person at school, because at school there or at work there is structure, routine, set ways of doing things, whereas at events there isn't. So you will miss this person. This person will not be there because we will probably go into sensory shutdown, or we will go into sensory overload, or we will have a meltdown, or we just won't communicate at all. So you won't see the person you see at work or at school or at college, because that person is gone, because we haven't had time for the downtime to process the day, to get through it, and then to go on to the next activity. That happens all the way through our life. Regardless of when we're diagnosed, we still have that build up and that issue throughout life. We just learn to manage it better. We learn to know when it's appropriate to do certain things. We learn to know when we need to hide it. And girls are in general a lot better at hiding their meltdowns, their anxieties, their fears, their difficulties than boys are. This isn't general. This is more of what I've seen in the world and what I've seen through my family, because a lot of people in my life are autistic. I am a lot better than, say, my brother at getting on with structured activities and getting on with things without having to be nagged, because that's what I've learned, that's how I cope, and that's how I do things on a daily basis. But we're both 27 this year, we're still both autistic, and that isn't going to go anywhere. So we still have those issues, we just learned how to deal with them over the 27 years of being autistic. Obviously I have Jake, who helps me immensely, and Bryn has friends who help him as well, and my parents, they help us both and things like that. But we never grow out of autism. I mean, it's a neurological condition. It's something that everyone who is autistic is with and has for life. Because you can't change your neurology. That's not how it works. You can't change it. You also can't take medication to change it. And you can't change your autism. You can get better at managing it. And you can get better at knowing symptoms and signs of meltdowns and overload, but you can't take your autism away, no matter what your age. I'm hoping that in this video I've explained a little bit more about why it is the way it is and why people still have autism. I've not exactly got much else to say other than please don't hesitate to ask questions. Please understand that autism isn't going to go away. And please, if you do see someone on the spectrum and you're not sure how to create or to go up to them or to interact with them, smile and say hello. Just smile at them, say hello. Don't expect eye contact, because most people with autism struggle with that. And don't be rude, and don't mock their noises, because the noises are just part of the disability. If you're going to mock them, then you're not a good human. Just be a kind, nurturing, understanding human. Okay? If you see someone with autism or any disability, really. Thanks, guys. Bye.